everybody. This is Barbie on Bell's Palsy Talk, and today we're going to talk to my friend Reem, who's in Lebanon, and we're going to talk about self-care and take any questions that you guys may have. And I'm just going to invite her here. Hey, friend.
Hi,
Hi.
Barbie. How
How are you today?
Listen, I thought we were gonna have to talk in like 1 hour because it's still 5 here and they changed the clock. So I'm really sorry. I totally forgot about the timing process. But
Are you okay?
I'm fine. I'm ready.
Okay. Well, we just have a chat for a little bit.
How are you first? Are you good?
Traveling, hey?
Yes, I've been traveling around for the past few weeks. I've been in Egypt for 2 times for some potential work. Let's cross our fingers. Let's hope so. And it was fun. It was a change because, you know, we've been passing through hard times in Beirut. So it was kind of a change, mood changer for me. So, and I saw some old friends that I haven't seen for a while. So it was good. It was good.
That's nice.
How are you?
Change of scenery. I'm great. We were chatting a couple weeks ago. I got married. So that was really...
Yes. Yay. Congratulations.
So much. And we're just back to regular life here. Kids and sports and all that, which is so nice having gone through COVID and everything that we kind of, you know, take for granted. So it's
of course,
yeah, nice to get back to normal. So I think that today we were chatting, you know, on Messenger about what we were going to talk about today, and a lot of people have been messaging me about self-care and enjoyed our talk that we had last time about that, because I think what happened, and especially I'm going to say typically with women, because, you know, of course men as well, but I think that we can talk, you know, both women, and from that end, that I think that women are so used to, you know, doing everything for everybody, our friends, especially our kids, our spouses, our partners, and especially when we come down with Bell's palsy, it's almost like we don't even know what to do because we have to slow down and we don't even know what we do when that happens. And so I was thinking today we could kind of chat about some ideas or things that, you know, work for us, because I know both of us work really hard on that. It's not easy.
No, it's a process. It's a process that we need to adapt to, and this is how you get recovery, because of the process. The process will help you through it, and it's not easy at the beginning. No one said it was easy. We had hard times as well. It took us a lot of time to get here. So yes, definitely, I agree with you. We need to talk about that.
Now, I've had Bell's palsy for almost 6 years. Now, remind me again how long it's been for you.
I've been diagnosed since 2012, so it's been a long time.
Yeah, longer than me. And
yes.
So you know, we're happy for those who are joining us, whether you had Bell's palsy just recently or it's been a while like us. You know, Reem and I like to talk about our journeys and hopefully be able to inspire those of you that maybe need it today or other days. For myself, I was sharing last week with a talk that I did, and I was thinking I would share as well, is, you know, I got married and it's been 6 years and I work on my, you know, new smile and all that. And so when I'm, you know, in a photo, you know, I have my, you know, the smile that I do now. And when I got my wedding pictures back, of course, there's candid photos. And even though it's been so long, of course, the Bell's my eye and this side of my mouth is the first thing I see. And that was really hard for me. So I wanted to, you know, share that with people, that that doesn't go away and that's okay. And then just the reframe of, let's focus on being grateful. And oh my gosh, I have these beautiful pictures. And, you know, my husband, he's like, Barbie, that's the first thing you look at. You know, he goes, I don't notice you, people don't, but I do. We do. That is the first thing we look at.
Yes, definitely.
And it's very hard to reframe that.
Mhm.
Um,
Okay, I'm gonna share with you a very common question I had from friends, which is very close to the subject matter you just mentioned. It's the dating part. You know, at the beginning, everyone was asking me, do you feel insecure? How do you feel? Is it really hard if anyone asks you for a date and you're still in the beginning of the recovery process? And if anyone asks you on that date or the date you're with, what's happened to your face? And will you be able to actually talk about it? And what I'm gonna say now is very frank. It was hard at the beginning. I didn't know how to explain it, but it took me a couple of dates to actually be very frank and just be open minded about it and just say what happened to me and just share my experience. And believe me, when you do that, the person in front of you looks at you in a different way, and he will not notice what's wrong with your face when you are very frank about it. So this is my advice. And about being insecure about taking pictures, I learned with time that I have like a specific angle
mhm,
in pictures that I can take, which makes me feel more confident about myself.
mhm.
And this is how it helped me with the pictures and all the videos that my friends take. Usually I don't like some of them, I delete them. But I chose an angle which makes me more confident about taking pictures, and it works because you know a lot of people actually sent me a message asking me on Instagram if I had any operations
Mhm.
after Bell's palsy, and I said no, I didn't do any operations. I just chose a different angles in my pictures, which you don't see usually. That makes me more confident, and it looks like I'm fine, but I'm not. I still have it.
uh, all the shot, like you're saying, well, let's take that again. Like, like, of course, you don't share those ones. You share the one that is the one that you like, or the angle, or
Exactly.
sunglasses if you're tired that day. So,
Mm-hmm.
that is something. And, when I first started, this is my second marriage. And, yeah, when I started dating him, he's like, well, he goes, I never noticed. I said, yeah, it's because you didn't know me before. And he also, I'm the same, like honest up front. And um that it makes you authentic. It's not like it's part of us. It's not going anywhere. You're not, even if you recover fully, you still have that experience. And
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I mean, you and I, that is right there.
It's part of the charm, just like I
Oh,
used to tell you. We're
yeah.
charming in our own kind of way. So we're unique. We have something special that none of the other people have. So this is how I see it, and this is how people should see it, and this is how it's going to reflect on your face, and you will feel more confident, and it won't show anymore with time. You know, when you are confident of what happened to you and accepting the process of it, and you will feel more comfortable about yourself, and that will actually reflect on your face, and people won't see it anymore. You know, my friends now, they tell me we don't see it. It's only you that see it because you're used to yourself, your old self, and you still I'm still very picky about it. But when they see me, they're like, Reem, we don't see it anymore, and you need to forget about it. So I do. Sometimes I do forget about it. It's just the when you're tired and you don't get enough sleep, and that's when you see it more than usual. So it bothers me a bit. But then again, the next day I wake up, I forget totally about it. So it is a long-term process, and it's a life process,
Yeah, like
and you need to.
worth, and I think
Mm-hmm.
that's why I wanted to share. And I knew you had stories like that as well, that it's not, oh, hey, it's been a year, and oh, we share pictures, we're on video. That doesn't mean that we don't notice it. That doesn't mean it doesn't get us down. It just means that we want to share our story. And, it's very important to me. My goal with Bell's Palsy Talk is for people to feel like they're not alone.
You know, it's a new identity. It's a new you. So
Yeah,
why not?
Yeah.
Why not? You just need to accept the new you. Plus, because you know, we talked about it last time that you learn when having Bell's palsy about priorities, and you start thinking more about yourself. It's not being selfish. I don't. Let's not call it selfishness, but this is the norms. But we are specific people who get Bell's palsy. This is what we talked about also last time. People who have who put others and priority before themselves. They have big hearts. They are workaholics, just like me and you. And and they forget about themselves. And this is a new identity and a new acceptance, a new acceptance and a new lesson for you to move on in life. And I think it changed a lot in me, and I'm very proud of it. I was never ashamed, and I was never shy to talk about it, because it made me who I am today. So after 2012. So I'm very proud. The people should not be ashamed of Bell's palsy. You should just have the strength to go through that process, because it is a long process. For me, it took me 2 years. It's not easy at all. Through medication and therapy and whatever I needed to take, I used to take specifically cortisone on a long term. So yeah, that's basically it.
And yeah, like self-care of being authentic and your voice and just being like, hey, this is part of me. That is self-care. And
yes.
You know, I was talking to someone on Messenger yesterday who's just going through it. It's almost like we need permission to take care of ourselves or ask for help. And that's what I'm hearing a lot, especially this week, is, you know, some weeks are up and some weeks are down. And, you know, this past week I had a time with some personal issues, and it's like, hey, you know what? Like, I'm going to take it in certain areas, and we have to learn to do that. Amy, you know, Bell's palsy warrior here on Instagram, her friends describe it.
Hi, Amy. If you're seeing us, hi, Amy.
She actually messaged me a couple of weeks ago. We had a talk booked, and she, you know what, I'm really overwhelmed, and, you know, I can't remember exactly what she had going on, and I just need to take care of myself. Awesome. That's hard for us. But what I was saying is, this week is I just take it easy on other things. Sometimes things need to take a priority, and I'm very lucky. My husband encourages me with that. But what her friends say to her, which I thought was awesome, is if she has a problem or something she's worried about, her friends say, is this worse, the other side of your face getting paralyzed? And I thought that was awesome. It's a good way to perspective, right? Like, is this issue that bad, that or that much of a priority? Like you're saying, we got this, and you start rethinking priorities. Like, is this really important? I have to speak up. I have to use my voice, maybe, you know. So that is self-care. Using your voice, that is a type of self-care. Getting, you know, a pedicure isn't the only form of self-care. And when I was past that, I was like, I don't know, like I get a massage once in a while. And so
you know, just by saying no, sometimes this is self-care by itself. You know, just refusing something is self-care. People like us used to forget the word no. So I think the word no is very important. No in a kind way. Not it doesn't need to be rude.
And not guilty, though. See, that's
exactly.
Like, you can say no and then beat yourself up for it for a week, or be like, oh, hey, I made a mistake. I said this that maybe I shouldn't have said, and beat yourself up for a week. Well, that doesn't count.
Totally agree.
So
yes.
Now you've just shifted that to something else. And that's what I'm working very hard on. You know, yeah, and leaning on the people you need this week. Like, you know, my very supportive, and me just being like, hey, you know what, stuff that I do around the house, or things that I do in our work that him and I work on together, you know, it might not get done. What's the priorities? What are the things that, you know, I really have to get done? Do those first. You know, I make sure that exercise and going to the gym, unfortunately, you're like, oh, this is something I would like to say no to, but, you know, your mental health, that is a priority. So those things, like making those things a priority. Everything is not a priority. Even though we have a million things on our to-do list, they're not all going to get done in one day. So what are the realistic things that you're going to get done? Typically the things that you want to get done the night before your big plan, things get derailed, especially, kids. If people have kids, like, good luck planning their own day, right? This morning here is like the kids going to their mom's house and there's transition and oh God, like, so those things we need to be easy on ourselves. And
it's having bellspalsy, it's not the end of the world anyway. So we still can walk, talk, eat, drink, have fun, go on with our lives. So it's not the end of the world. We just need to adapt to it. A lot of also questions that popped out, common ones, are if Bell's palsy can happen to you again. I wasn't really sure to answer that because I'm not a medical professional, who can actually answer that. But since I had to visit a lot of doctors when I had that, and I did ask that question before, and they did tell me that it's very rare. You don't get it twice unless it was a family history. And it's hereditary from your family, then maybe you can have it. But it's very rare. People should not freak out. Everyone who's on that chat and watching, especially the people who are just had Bell's palsy very fresh, because I just saw someone who had it like 8 days ago, Miss Jenna. So Miss Jenna, don't get depressed. And I saw her the sad face. We're here to support you, and everyone who has Bell's palsy and had the experience. We have support groups just like Barbie's, just like Andrea's. You can actually message us. Don't hesitate. Just don't get depressed, because believe me, depression is not the road to recovery. It's just gonna make you worse, and it's not gonna make you recover fast.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Now it can happen again. It is rare. There are lots of several people who have messaged me that it's happened when they're 14, and it's happened again. Now Reem and I have talked quite a bit about our take on it. Is that means you haven't learned the lesson that you need to learn. And I think that if you really do some work inside and yourself, it's like, okay, at this point in my life, what was going on? And now at this point in your life, let's dig down, and maybe it's the same thing in just a different way. If you were 14, were you using your voice? Did something happen to you that you weren't speaking up about? Who knows? And like we said, we're not doctors in any way. Don't have to go to school. I can never pay attention that long. But that is really how we feel, that you need to use your voice. So yes, it is caused by virus. In some cases it's virus, and it is bad luck. But where Reem and I come from, we've talked about before, is you can be the shingles virus, the herpes virus of both kinds is 80 to 90% of people in North America have that virus in them. It's dormant. So cold sore goes away. That virus is still dormant in your body. So if and somebody else sitting beside each other on the bus, the chances are you both have that virus dormant in your body. So why is it that one gets those and the other one doesn't? And that is where we come from with this lesson, that of course bad luck. 100% not lucky. We're not saying it's like, let's stand up and cheer that we got Bell's palsy. But there is a reason. We strongly believe that there is a reason. One person gets it and then the other doesn't. Now we voice it as, special. We learn lesson. We have things to teach in the world. We have things to stand up for. Reem, you do so much advocacy and standing up, and I believe that that's a big part of you.
It helps. Of course, it helps a lot.
Your voice out. And obviously Bell's palsy has made you realize that your voice is important. Everybody's voice is important, regardless of whether you're standing on a big stage and advocacy, advocating for government or being on live videos. That doesn't matter. Your level of using your voice is what matters, whether that even is just standing up to your parents and being like,
I totally agree.
or,
Yeah.
or whatever. So that's where I do think it can happen again. Yes, it's rare, but Bell's palsy is also rare.
You know what might trigger it as well? It's a lot of having a lot of stress. Stress is a major factor. So stress, we need to control stress, especially people who actually had Bell's palsy. For it not to happen again, or for it not to get worsen,
Yeah.
stress is a major factor. So you need to control your stress, put your stress into something else, another energy, make something, turn it into good stuff. I usually put my stress into social work. I go help others. I go do donations. This is what I do. So just direct your stress into something else instead of directing it within you, because it's not going to help you. It's going to just get you worse, or maybe have it again. Who knows? So
yeah. Oh yeah, and make it worse. Like you're saying, like, you know, we've talked about before, you can feel obviously you didn't get enough sleep last night, easy. But if you're feeling it tense up, if I'm in certain situations, my face gets really tense, my shoulders, you know, a lot of times are tense, but like they don't tense up. My legs don't tense up when I get in.
Exactly.
So let's just think about why your body is giving you a sign. Now, taking care of health and everything, it is hard to focus that energy on something else, but physically putting yourself, like you're saying, in a different situation where you're focusing on something else is the answer. So sitting there, you know, meditating is great. Journaling is great. Awesome to get those feelings out. But once they're out, great. Now what? Are we sitting and festering on them? You need to shift your energy to something else. So go and volunteer. Go work on something else. Go learn a different activity. I'm not saying that I'm great at it, but I do know that that's what the answer is.
And actually read about it. You know, you suggested a lot of good books that are very helpful. Even reading about it, and even asking others, asking you, asking people who already got Bell's palsy, but reading about it in books is very helpful. I got my hand on one of a very good book, which I forgot the name of it, but I'll mention it later on because I read it in 2013. It was an online book and I read it online. It really helped me see it in another perspective. You know, it's not a diagnosis. It teaches you not to see it as a diagnosis or as a sickness. Bell's palsy is not a sickness. It's just a breakdown that happens to anyone. It can happen to your hand, to your leg. It just happens by coincidence. Luckily for us, it's facial. It's just a breakdown. This is how it teaches you to see it. It's just a breakdown that you need to deal with, and you learn from it, and you learn to accept it. And this is how this was the process for me. There was a question which I didn't read.
So she says, have it up. I know many people who have had people who are nasty and self. Perhaps if you are run down and stressed, your immune system is not at its 100%. Think about how exhausting it is to be a nasty person. You have so much crap and hurt and junk inside that if you are focusing all your energy on that, 100%, I totally agree. And and the reason why that builds up is, guess what? They're not using voice. They're not saying, hey, you know what? You've upset me. So what am I going to do? I'm going to hold that in. What is that going to do? Something's going to happen to your body. Emotions are trapped in your body. They come somewhere. And it's usually in disease or something like Bell's palsy. Like we're saying, it's not a disease. It's a sign.
Yes.
And, you know, the other thing I was going to say something. The books and things like reading, absolutely. Because you read and educate yourself. Hey, there's some ideas that maybe I can try, some treatments or whatever. But it makes you feel like you're not alone. You know, that
exactly.
Because it isn't. It's not something where, you know, the person next door to you has it. I've never met anybody in my life other than now friends I've made online that have had it, and luckily, but doctors aren't very versed in it, and that makes sense. Research money goes into things like cancer. That makes sense. People die from those things. So
Yes.
it makes sense that the research money is.
That's why we are called warriors. We're not sick people. We're just warriors who are fighting something on a long life time period, and that's it. We just fight and live with it. So Barbie, the other thing is communication. Being honest and being very blunt sometimes helps. Just don't let things in. Recently, I've had a lot of clashes with friends, and I can openly talk about it. I don't really hold it in. I don't have a grudge on anyone, but I learned to just be very transparent and blunt, and because it helps me sleep at night, and this is how communication is a big key here for me, and this is how Palsy actually made me learn that communication is very important, because I used to let it in, and I think this is one of the common symptoms that we have, me, you, and Amy, and anyone. We used to hold it in, and this is really bad. It brings you all the sickness in the world if you hold it in. Stress can bring you cancer, can bring you any sickness in the world. Yeah. It's still, we still don't call Palsy as a sickness. It's just a breakdown. I don't want to call it a sickness. And yeah, that's it. There's someone who wrote that she just had Palsy. She's a new mother. Yeah. I'm sure she went through a lot, just like Andrea did. She's going through a treatment, and happy to find this page. Yay.
Go for treatment. Take care of yourself.
Yes.
Obviously, when you're a new mom, like, let me tell you, I got postpartum depression, and having a baby is no joke. Like, people talk a lot about, honestly, on social media was very hard for me. My oldest is 15, so it was a long time ago, but it's so wonderful, and I had such a connection with my baby and all that. It's okay if you're just focusing on getting the next day. Having a baby is serious trauma. It's trauma.
Yes.
It is a great experience. Kids are wonderful. The whole fact that you're going to make a human is like an absolute miracle. That doesn't mean that you can't have a hard time. That doesn't mean that you can't have a literal breakdown. And I strongly believe that half of postpartum depression is you're not sleeping. Of course, if you don't sleep for 3 months straight, anybody's going to get depressed. So give yourself a break and just take care of yourself. Say no. You don't need to let people come visit, or you don't need to return messages. Just be like, hey, I'm really, I'm feeling.
And don't be shy. Don't be shy to just cry. You can cry it out, woman. You can. Just don't let it in. Cry it out. It's fine. You can cry. You shouldn't be shy about crying. This is, it's a very cliche thing that when you cry, people see you as a weak person. And I think it's totally the opposite. When you cry, you're strong because you're showing your real emotions and feelings. And this is how you let out things.
Yes. That's what I was going to say.
There's nothing to be ashamed from when you cry. So please, if you have something to let it out, just be angry, cry, do whatever it takes. Just let it out.
And that is something, when I started going to therapy, I don't even remember when, but, after it was, I think actually right before I got Bell's palsy, and maybe I was letting things out, but crying, if you don't feel capable of using your voice, just working on that, crying gets the chemicals out of your body. And that's something that I really learned is I cry a lot. My kids laugh at me because it's like happy, sad, grateful, scared, unsure. I cry in business meetings because I get overwhelmed, but I've learned to accept that about myself. It's not going away. So
exactly.
if you are working on other things, the one thing, I think that we're going to take away from this talk is if you are having trouble, cry it out. That's kind of an easy thing to do. Lock yourself in the bathroom.
Laugh it out, cry it out, drink it out, whatever it takes. Just do it. If it makes you feel better to just laugh it out, go out, talk about it, just choose a way that makes you feel comfortable. Maybe crying is not an option for everyone, but if laughing or just having a couple of drinks with your best friend would help, anything that you would choose and makes you feel better, just do it. Now, some people choose crying as a priority, others would choose something else. So, but just choose something where to transmit this negative energy of yours. Yes.
Now, dearest Tamali, I don't really know how to pronounce your name, said, yes, I would love to read a book on it. Okay.
Yes, we need to recommend the books. You know, there is a book that you recommended not long time back. Yes. It's on your post.
So it's the book that I recommend on a regular basis, especially if someone has new onset. It's called Fix My Face. And I do.
Yes, exactly. This one.
I also have the link to where you can buy it on my website, barbiewharton.com/talk. A couple resources in there, but the main one is that book. I love it. It explains 5 doctors that have written. You have 5 people's point of view on things, 5 people that have looked into things, like not super smart. And then you're gonna remember the book that was talking about from 2012, and we'll post that later. I'll put that up because the more reading, the better. The more informed you are. You know, different groups. I mean, the thing is that I read books about it, but it's, you know, you want to make sure you're taking advice from reputable sources. Support groups are great. Like, there's lots on Facebook, but you also have people who are grasping at straws, desperate, as we've all been there. But you know, some things people are trying, I'm like, oh my God, it's still if you didn't have Bell's palsy, you would never do that. So just trust your gut. Make sure you're getting good advice. You know, for us, we like to talk about self-care and the side of it because we have gone through it, but stuff that people are doing to their face.
Because this is what we came out of it. It's self-care. I think we learned through the process how much self-care is important, and this is what maybe helped in our recovery. That's why it's really important to talk about it and to share it with everyone. There's someone who asked you about your experience with the synkinesis. If you have had.
I do have synkinesis. I think you do a little bit as well. And so just if everybody is aware what synkinesis is, it's your nerves get damaged. And Pierre and I talk about with Butho Physio, which is definitely super valuable resource that I want everyone to check out as well. The link is on my page. Is your nerves are the slowest part of your body to heal. And I was like, when he told me that, I'm like, oh, of course. I have had trouble with patience my whole life. That's what I'm working on now. But forcing, like, there's certain stretches you can do at the beginning, put heat, like gentle massage. If you force it, it's not like training for a marathon, you know.
Yes.
If you force it, they grow back in the wrong area. So what synkinesis is the nerves grow back in the wrong way. They have no direction to go. So if you notice, like when I'm speaking here, my eye flutters.
My eye too. I have the same nerve breakdown. It's the same.
Right.
Just you don't see it much because I do Botox from time to time and fillers, which helps. Not everyone, but if it helps anyone who is on this talk with us, it would help. But you need to really go to the right doctor. You need to see a couple of doctors and just be comfortable with the right doctor to do it, or else just don't do it because it's not gonna project well on your face if you do it. This is my advice.
I get a lot of questions about whether I've done Botox. I have. I'm about going again. I haven't had it for about a couple of years, like COVID and all that. Like, didn't leave the house. But I've gotten Botox in my eyes here, and it for looks, but also because my eye gets very tired. So you know, I do it for that. I have had a lot of success. You know, it's very researched. It's very common. So it's not like you're trying some weird thing. But yeah, for sure, definitely get opinions. Make sure that you find somebody that knows about facial paralysis or has read about it or anything like that. Make sure you ask your questions. Now, one question I did want to ask or answer is Nina. So she's having her third baby in a few days. She had Bell's palsy when she had her twins. So you know what? You're, like we were saying before, having babies, especially twins, like, good for you. Like, you made it through that. So first of all, just remember, you know, my girlfriend who had twins and then had another baby, she said it was only one. First of all, she said it was like a breeze. She's like, I'm only feeding one baby at a time, only whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Most important thing is to ask for help. You know, make
Yes.
sure ask for help for your oldest ones. Get some sleep. Sleep is the biggest healer. Biggest healer.
And don't be afraid, because she said she's afraid of what's to come. And maybe, I don't know if what she meant is because she's going to have a lot of stress, a lot on her. Or she's actually afraid of having Bell's palsy again. I'm not sure if she's going through that in that question. But I think just manage your time, just like Barbie said. I don't have kids on my own, so I cannot really advise from my side. But I just know that just having family and friends around you that supports you, especially when you have kids, will help a lot throughout your schedule. And just get some sleep. Enough sleep is your remedy for having kids.
Yeah. So great talk. I think that you and I could probably talk for years. Hours. And I just love having met you. And like I've said before, this, you know, social media, like Reem is in Lebanon. Like, how cool is it that we've become friends? I'm so excited. Love chatting with you.
You know, I'm so lucky because in 2012, 2013, I didn't really find much support groups. It was not really a thing back then for Bell's palsy. And then, you know what? After now it's been like since 2012. Now I have the chance to talk about it. So I'm really happy to share it with everyone. And I'm very free. Internally, because I have this acceptance in my heart and mind. I want to talk about it anytime, any day. Yeah. Just talk about it.
And sometimes it, you know, might take us a little bit of a while to get back to you. You know, if people have questions, or we can address it on lives like this. But thank you so much to everybody for joining us. We had a lot of people on this talk. We will post it, of course, on the feed. And we'll post those books, and we'll be back again soon, because
for sure
this is also,
I'm ready anytime.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much,
everyone.
Getting up early for us.
Thank you.
Time change. Like, we'll figure it out one day.
Yes. We will. Don't worry. We'll adapt just like everything else.
We will. Have a wonderful day.
You too.
Thanks, Reem.
Kisses. So much love to everyone. Bye.